How you doing, vlog fans? This is Stash back with part 2 of my Operation Mind Control vlog rant. Hope you like the other one. It seems to be getting some hits. It's a great book. Get a hold of it somehow if you can. So Walter Bowart, the cryptocracy plan to psycho-civilized you. I recommend the old version, any version, the expanded research edition with Doe on the cover. Continuing on this massive tome discussion, stimulating discussion. I've gotten no likes, no hits, so whatever. I again have my hypno shades on in case it adds to the weirdness of it. I actually think it kind of matches the cover of the weird book. Yes. And it's an old school book. It's dated, but it's interesting. So, and parts maybe 4 of this vlog series, I'm going to get into what information I have on the modern era. Okay, so we go back to the military guy David. Okay, so he wakes up. There's a doctor, and he said, we regret to inform you, you have attempted suicide, David, sir. You attempted to overdose on some sleep ease. So he's like, wow, he's stunned because his family said he was a man of unusual common sense. David, a supply man from the military in the Dakotas. Although it's strange because he's tough and for some reason he's got a 5th degree black belt in some memory lapses. So I could picture that scene. That's just like the one to me before this one where I just put the Apocalypse Now, a terminate with extreme prejudice scene, one of my favorites in all of cinema history, when Willard goes to see the general and the colonel and Jerry. Jerry's either a CIA guy or a civilian involved in covert operations, I think it's called Codes or Coda, but that's in the liner notes of that one. Jerry, terminate with extreme prejudice. Have a cigarette. Have a cigarette, Captain Willard. Captain Willard, we got orders. Remember that scene? They put him in the showers. Orders for me? Orders? Did you not assassinate a tax collector in Kumba province? Or whatever province? Awesome scene. Anyway, back to Operation Mind Control. So he's like, well, I'll get out of the military with this suicide attempt, whatever. Because I don't know why it doesn't explain why he wanted to get out. He wasn't comfortable, maybe whatever. But they're like, no, oh no, we want to offer you a promotion. And he's like, and he gets a transfer. So one of the themes of Operation Mind Control is Bowart went around interviewing covert authors, a lot of ex-military guys like Colonel Fletcher Prouty, all these guys. And people, and he actually has a warning in the beginning of the book. If you read this book and you're involved in this bullshit, you could get triggered. And I believe it. So anyway, David, he meets 2 other people. I described this in my other vlog, but let me recap, or I don't care, whatever. If I'm repeating myself, use this for sleep. So he meets this couple. They realize they all have an affinity for each other, and they all have lack of memory of what the heck they did in the Vietnam War. And so he every time, again, as I mentioned in the last vlog, every time they ask David about his life, he breaks out in a cold sweat, and he gets violent if you bring up computers. His friends, the couple who had an affinity for each other and got married, he asked them about their experience in the war, and they were like, you know what? I don't remember. I had a great time in the war. All I remember is sunning and tanning. I had a great time. I loved the war. And so there's like these memory lapses. So the main concept is about assassins, like the Manchurian Candidate. When Raymond, remember Frank Sinatra? Raymond, we're busting this up, Raymond. If he sees, I believe, the Queen card, the Queen of Hearts or something, he's triggered. Boom! To assassinate. So David is, I believe, he's like a mental tape recorder. So he just remembers being in a room, having a meeting with the enemy, and he can memorize things like a tape recorder. And then they're able to erase his memories, and he goes on. This book, Walter Bowart, also goes into Candy Jones, which is an admitted, verified, not a conspiracy book, but an admitted book about Candy Jones, that she was involved in intelligence. She was a pin-up girl, an extremely attractive woman. There's actually a book. I'll leave the name in the liner notes. So I'm not going to obviously go over it line by line. Everything is, but that's legit. There's also the next concept which I'll introduce, which is really frightening and cool and weird. Not cool, but interesting. Cool? I don't know. Whatever. There's a legendary hypnotist expert named, last name Estabrooks. And the question that is given to him is this hypnosis given to you against your will? Is it given to you against your will? And, you know, when you go to those stage shows, the hypnotist's like, this is harmless, or you go to hypnotist, they'd have different opinions on it. Like, if you're going to see a hypnotist for therapy, you better be seeing a regular doctor if you have some issues. I believe they warn you about that. But Estabrooks says, you know, can we coerce a guy to do it? Can we turn a guy into an assassin against his will? And I believe, basically, he says yes. But it would be use of deception involved to do it. But I think that's a common thing out there, and that's a question. A lot of hypnotists, no, I can't hypnotize you against evil, to do evil. I mean, can they hypnotize you to go shopping and buy a bunch of stuff that you don't need? Are we all hypnotics, just like Charles Fort said? Anyway, I'll leave that guy's name in the liner notes. Estabrooks said it can be done. And also, of course, most famous, a lot of people are interested in this. A lot of people in the 60s era now, they're interested in drugs. They're interested in DMT. They're interested in LSD. Joe Rogan, a lot of his shows are about DMT. Interesting stuff. There is a famous case that cannot be denied by a doctor named Olson. His family won the case. He was either thrown out a window or killed beforehand, I believe the case goes. He was working on LSD. LSD, they were interested in using it for mind control, interrogation, like, truth drugs, sodium pentothal, all of them. Actually, Operation Mind Control mentions a number of times Ritalin, and also dozens of complex drugs that I can't even begin to pronounce the names of. That came up, and I think they give that to every kid in grade school nowadays, right? This is what the Stash Prada freaking vlog is for. Yeah. Anyway, interesting. So the Olson case is real. Candy Jones is real. Operation Mind Control is a book that's a great book that's a pain in the ass to get. It's got some real stuff into it. Equally, obviously, the communist governments are legendary for it. That's what the Manchurian Candidate is about. That's what it's all about. There was a cardinal that was against communism. They hypnotized him up, and boom, all of a sudden he was a commie. So there's documented cases. What they can do now with movies and advertising, who knows? They can probably make you do anything, or they can make a considerable portion of the population do what they want, right? So we should watch out for this. But Estabrooks says it can be done. Almost done with this blog. I will move briefly on to Mary Pinchot Mayer, the alleged mistress of John F. Kennedy, was into LSD. There's a scene in this book that you've got to check out if you can, where she actually meets Timothy Leary, the godfather of the tune-in dropout, Mr. Acid himself. Basically, Leary is like, yeah, I have the agency to thank. I have the CIA to thank for LSD. There's an awesome scene where she meets him. We got to get into this. You know, I think she has a name for it. It's a utopioid. Uh, utopioids. We need to use utopioids. In other words, it'd be a great society, but he reports that she makes kind of a devious laugh or whatever. Anyway, she was into it, things, being the wife of Cord Mayer, the famous CIA guy, and she wound up being murdered in a mysterious case that may be for another blog. Anyway, she was interested in it. I've even heard rumors that the actor Cary Grant did LSD with Timothy Leary, and I think who tuned who in? Grant had access to such stuff. That's a vlog for another time. But this is my Operation Mind Control Volume 2 vlog. I hope you dig it. I want it to be crazy. I want it to be interesting. Enjoy it. God bless. Peace out. Part 3 of Operation Mind Control vlog coming soon to the Stosh vlog, to the Stosh channel, which I know is growing exponentially. Share this, talk us up, give me some comments and likes. If you give me a thumbs down, give me some reasons why. That'll do it. Ciao.